Tangled, the sweetest day ever. Rapunzel was having the best birthday of her life. She'd finally left her tower. She and her chameleon Pascal had made some new friends, like Flynn, the well-meaning thief, and Maximus, the noble horse. In a few short hours, she'd get to see the floating lanterns she'd always wondered about. And now they had time to explore the kingdom of Corona. Since today was the celebration of the lost princess's birthday, the whole town was out and about for the festivities. Rapunzel had never met so many interesting people. There were musicians playing lively tunes, kids drawing with chalk, and all sorts of street vendors selling goodies. Rapunzel found she had plenty to talk about with all of them. "Hello there," called a man behind a fruit stand. "Crispy, delicious apples? They're straight from my farm." Rapunzel bounded up to greet him. "They certainly look delicious," she responded. "What's it like owning a farm?" Farther down the street, Rapunzel got into a conversation with another vendor. "Wow! Are these your paintings? What types of brushes do you use?" "I know a fellow artist when I see one," the painter said. The two started chatting like old friends. Suddenly, Rapunzel and Flynn heard a commotion behind them. The sounds of crashing pans and loud voices erupted from an open window. "I have half a mind to call the palace guards," a voice cried. "Hey, a bakery," Rapunzel said, noticing the sign. She headed straight for the door. What was that about palace guards?" Flynn asked. He knew the guards weren't that good at hunting him down, but he didn't want to walk straight to them. "Besides, I don't even like sweets." Despite Flynn's protests, Rapunzel followed her curiosity inside. Her attention was immediately drawn to the lively feud in front of her. "I'm sorry, but we're all out," said a small man crouching in fear. "How can you be out on today of all days?" a flushed baker asked the dairyman. "How am I going to make my famous Lost Princess cupcakes without milk and eggs?" Rapunzel stepped forward. "Wait, you don't have eggs or milk?" "That's right," the baker responded, her eyes narrowing at the strange blonde girl who'd suddenly appeared in front of her. "I can help. Stay right there," Rapunzel declared. And with that, she ran out of the bakery as fast as she could. The baker and the dairyman now turned to stare at the man left standing awkwardly nearby. I guess I'll go help," Flynn said, darting out behind her. First, Rapunzel rushed back to the farmer's stand. Flynn, Maximus, and Pascal hurried behind her. "Hi again, Frank. I need some of your finest." Rapunzel grabbed as many apples as she could carry. Then they stopped by the artist's corner. "You don't have any unused paintbrushes you could spare, do you, Felix?" Rapunzel asked. Soon, girl, boy, horse, and chameleon were back at the bakery, their goods in tow. The baker led Rapunzel into the kitchen, curious about what the girl was going to propose. She was so intrigued, she didn't even think twice about the large horse and bright chameleon peeking into her shop. "You don't need eggs or milk," Rapunzel announced, pulling out some pots and pans from behind the counter. "You can use applesauce." "Applesauce?" repeated the baker. "Yup." Rapunzel taught the baker her favorite way of whipping up some applesauce quickly. In no time, golden fluffy cupcakes were cooling on the counter. "And now to add a little pizzazz," Rapunzel said. She grabbed one of the borrowed paintbrushes and started to decorate the cupcakes with colorful frosting. The baker inspected Rapunzel's work with admiration. "You saved the day," the baker said. "Cupcakes for everyone." "Even you, Lester," she said, eyeing the dairyman. She handed Flynn a basket filled with the beautiful sweet treats. Rapunzel and Flynn knew just where to take them. Saving the Lost Princess cupcakes had been a team effort after all. Frank loved the sweet taste. Felix loved the frosting decorations. "I think I'll try one now, too," Rapunzel said, taking a cupcake out of the basket. Suddenly, Flynn jumped, his eyes wide. "Run!" he shouted. Rapunzel turned to see a throng of guards heading in their direction. She squealed, and they sprinted away, darting through the crowd. Finally, they found a hidden corner, holding their breath as they watched the guards run past them. When the coast was clear, they burst out laughing. "I sure have worked up an appetite," Flynn said, grabbing a cupcake from the basket. "I thought you didn't like sweets," Rapunzel teased. "I'll make an exception this time," he said, tipping his cupcake toward Rapunzel and taking a bite. "Wow, that is delicious." "Thanks," Rapunzel said, taking a bite out of her own. They looked at each other for a moment. Both felt themselves blushing and grinning. As the sun started to set, Rapunzel thought about how truly sweet the day had been. And it wasn't over yet. Soon it would be time to see the floating lanterns, with her best friends at her side.